Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Michael Fanning. This is Warm Up 366. And today I was listening to a great podcast by Jay Shetty called On Purpose, and he was talking about perfectionism. How many of you know people who are perfectionists, or maybe you're a perfectionist, right? And it was really interesting. I want you to listen to the podcast. I'm going to put a link to it. But here's the thing about perfectionism. Right now in your mind, think about how many things in the world are perfect, right? Without flaw. How many things in the world are perfect without flaw? Doesn't exist. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's without a flaw, right? It makes us who we are. It gives us our character, that imperfection, if you will. And what he talked about is when you see people who are perfectionists, their focus is in a place that's going to cause misery, if you will, or not being satisfied on a continual basis. Because if you're always striving for perfection and perfection doesn't exist, you never get there. And so a couple things that he said I think were interesting is he said, I've got some notes here. He said, when you think about people who are perfectionists, there's some things that they focus on, and they focus on results. They're not focusing on the process, they're focusing on the results. It's driven by ego, and it's driven by ego because they're competing and they want to be the best. They want to make sure that other people think they're the best. They have something to prove to somebody, and it's not a purpose. It's to prove. It's not their purpose, it's to prove. And the problem with that, right, is it's a constant circle of failure. So really, because you can't ever get to perfection. And so what he did in this podcast is he broke it down. He laid out these 6 areas, and I just want to kind of give these to you because I think it's really important that you understand kind of what he's talking about. So to give you an example of this, he tells 2 stories. So if you guys remember, if you read the book, I don't know, you might have, you might not have, by Jon Krakauer, and this was in 1997 when those 8 climbers died on Mount Everest. Those 8 climbers died on Mount Everest because of ego, because of perfectionism, because they were going to hit that summit no matter what. And they put their life in danger, and they put other people's lives in danger, and they died because of it. And you can flip that story and you can think about Alex Honnold, who summited El Cap, right, in Yosemite. And he did 30,000 feet of vertical granite without a rope, right? Again, a phenomenal feat, right? Was he perfect? No, he wasn't perfect. But guess what? He didn't focus on the result. He focused on the process. In fact, he went to go climb it one day, and he got up into the first phase of it, and he just said, you know what? This isn't right. I don't feel it. It's not right. I don't have the process down enough. I'm going to stop. And he came back down, and he didn't summit that day. And then he came back after he had a different idea of what he wanted to do, and he made it, and he made it happen. But here's why. He wasn't thinking about, well, I started it. I got to finish it now because what are other people going to think, He said, you know what, this is a purpose that I have, a goal that I have, and what I want to do. And in order to do it successfully, I've got to look at these things. And so think about this. What are they? If you want to get out of that perfectionist mindset, one of the things is don't focus on the outcome, don't focus on the result, focus on the practice. Alex Honnold practiced for years and years to perfect that, and he did this. And he understood each process. So he broke El Cap down into sections on the wall, right? He broke those processes down. He was able to pivot. He's able to say, you know what, this isn't right. I need to stop right now, and I need to do something different. He was able to pivot. He was able to pause. Sometimes, we're striving so hard that sometimes we just have to stop and pause. We also have to understand what's our purpose, right? What is our purpose in making this happen? And so those are some areas in there that he talks about that I think are really important. I want you to listen to it. And I'll give you my own personal story, is that sometimes perfectionists, they see the imperfection, and so it drives them absolutely nuts, but nobody else sees it. I know, I'm playing a band, and we go in and record often. I think it was on our second release of our CD, and we had one of our band members that was just, he played a part, and he wanted it to be perfect. And he played it the first time, and it was, as far as I was concerned, it was pretty darn good. But it wasn't to his level of perfection. So he wanted to do it over and over and over again. And guess what happened? The more he tried to be perfect, the more mistakes he made. The more he tried to be perfect, the more mistakes he made. And finally, we were just running out of time. I mean, we only had so much time in the studio. We said, hey, you know what? The first one you did, that was the best one. Let's just run with that. And he didn't like it. He didn't want it that way. But you know what? Majority rules. And so, and here's what I'll tell you. To this day, I have not ever had anybody come to me and say, hey, that one song in the second chorus, there's a mistake. Nobody hears it. Nobody hears it. And I can tell you, there's many times we've played gigs where somebody said, wow, that gig you guys played tonight was amazing. And I think to myself, really? Because I made a few mistakes, right? I made a few mistakes. I know maybe your bass player made a few mistakes. My bass player's listening, he doesn't make mistakes. Anyways, my point is this, is that, perfectionists, they just dwell on that. I got to be perfect because, going back to what we talked about, they're focused on the results. It's ego driven. They're competitive. They think about what others people think. And here's what I'll tell you. Focus on the process, focus on the practice, focus on your purpose. And also know this, nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. There's always imperfections, and imperfections make us who we are. It makes us unique. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Be awesome and help somebody. Listen to the podcast that I'm going to drop in here by Jay Shetty. He goes into a much deeper dive on perfectionism. All right. Talk to you later.